some flight traveling that wasn't reflected there. So I just wanted to say there did appear to be something that indicates that you may be right in saying they might not be 100% accurate.
Yes, Chair, thank you. My second point would be that the ones from the SAA, they are not even on a letterhead. And for me, because they are repeated, they are also cause of concern. Their appearance do not look professional to me, and
Yes.
they are not on a letterhead,
Yes.
and their repetition in clusters
Yeah.
also is a matter of concern for me.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, no, that's fine. It may well be that the legal team and the investigators might have to look at whether somebody from SAA shouldn't be called who knows the records and can talk to the issue of how accurate they are, and if there are inaccuracies, what would cause those inaccuracies and so on. Thank you. Ms. Silo?
Thank you, Chair. And I agree with the Chair. It's a submission I was about to make, which is if Ms. Mento challenges the accuracy of the SAA records, the only way to resolve the problem is to bring forward a witness from SAA who is versed in these matters and is able to talk to the information provided to us, and the Chair may then interrogate such witness in the fullness of time.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you, Chair. To conclude that aspect then, Chair, yes, we have looked at the transcript. It is the transcript of the 27th of August. For the record, it starts at page 51, line 20. This is a discussion about whether she flew SAA and whether it was a Monday or another day.
Excuse me, ma'am, through the Chair, which document, which file are you at?
The transcript, the transcript from your previous testimony in August. That,
Yes,
Does
I'm
she
asking the
have
file
it?
number.
yes, she does.
This one. The file number?
It doesn't have a
Well,
file number, it's just a transcript. She'll help you.
I think you must just say transcript outside so that, well, mine doesn't show that, so that it will be easy for the witness to find it if she's referred to it.
Thank you, Chair.
Thanks.
So it is the transcript of the 27th of August from page 51.
Do I need to go there?
You
or
know,
not
you don't
necessarily?
need to go there,
Yeah,
Chair, but
okay.
Ms. Mento may do so to satisfy herself. The discussion from page 51 up to 56 concerns their flight to Johannesburg and whether it was definitely on a Monday or could have been on another day. And there a comment is made that she had stated that she is not exactly sure about Monday. Subsequently, she clarifies this further on, up to 56, and she adopts the stance that she is absolutely certain it was a Monday. What she's
Okay.
unclear of is the
Yes.
airline that she flew.
Okay.
So,
So
accepting
she-
that testimony,
yeah, okay.
then we are stuck to Monday. It has to be a
Yes.
Monday.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
as things stand, therefore, Chair, currently, there is no flight that fits Ms. Mento's description on the SAA and the parliamentary records on a Monday from Cape Town to Johannesburg and back to Cape Town between the 22nd of August and the 30th of October,
2010.
2010.
Subject to the records not being 100%
Of course,
accurate.
with that rider, of course, that if...
Yes.
That's
an
what
S-
I wanted to add.
Oh, you
Yes.
wanted to add that?
Yes.
Yeah, no.
And
okay.
SAA, the only records that would appear to be under challenge currently are the SAA records. Am I correct? Or would you extend that to the parliamentary records as well? I just want to know the nature of witnesses to try and call, Chair.
Remember I said they don't speak to each other?
Yes.
So I cannot settle for the other without the other?
So
So-
you query both.
Yes.
Then we would propose, Chair, that we...
Because if I don't query the other, it means I accept the other as
Indeed.
accurate.
Indeed.
Well, I'm not sure if I understand that. Let's try it this way. They are the parliamentary records that reflect your traveling. Those ones, well, yeah, those as we have them also do not, as they stand at the moment, reflect that you traveled on the day that you say you traveled from Cape Town to Johannesburg. In regard to those, your position is it that you are not sure about their accuracy? Is that your position, or is your position that when you look at the SA ones, it makes you question whether the parliamentary ones are correct as well or not? What is your position?
Chair, the SAA records that purportedly come from SAA
Yes, yes.
do not speak to the SAA records that come from Parliament. Now,
Yes, yes.
there are things that appear in another that do not appear in another.
Yes,
And there are legs that are not talking to one another when I compare the two.
yes.
And given the importance, as you have reminded me, Chair,
Yes, yes,
of this aspect of my evidence,
yes,
I
yes.
would rather not take chances.
Yes, yes.
I would rather
Yes,
have a thorough investigation of both the SAA record
Yes.
as they emanated from the SAA itself
Yeah.
and as they emanated from Parliament, because there are
Okay.
aspects where they don't talk to each other.
okay, all right, thank you.
Yes, Chair, and we're indicating that in light of what Ms. Mento says, we will endeavor to find witnesses both from SAA and Parliament to come speak to the records submitted to us already, which are already part of the record, and to clarify any issues that are unclear or any contradictions that are apparent from the documents, Chair.
Ms. Mento talks on the basis of the one set of records being records emanating from SAA and the other one being records which which are SAA records but submitted through Parliament.
Yes, Chair.
Is that accurate, or is the one set that the Commission got through Parliament parliamentary records, or did Parliament obtain those from SAA? What is the position?
Maybe, Chair, I perhaps made a couple of assumptions in my response. With your permission, Chair, I'll clarify that. We've got records obtained from SAA regarding
Yes.
Ms. Mento's travel in the time in question, in the period in
Yes.
question. We then requested records pertaining to her travel in that period from Parliament. And
Yes.
Parliament made available to us what appears at D2, page 7.
Yes.
Now, on the face of it and any other document that Parliament made available to us, it is unclear whether those are their own records or whether they in turn obtain them from a travel agent or travel agents that
Yes.
Parliament may use.
Okay.
So we suggest that these are matters that could be clarified with the witness from Parliament
Yeah.
to understand exactly the source of the information,
Yeah.
the storing of the information, and how the information was obtained.
Okay.
And any contradictions that then appear between the two sets,
Yeah.
one or other witness may be able to explain.
Okay. No, that's fine. Ms. Minto?
Thanks, Chair. Without trying to reverse the progress we
Yes.
are making,
Yes.
there are other two things that I would like to make the Chair aware of
Yeah.
regarding the records. I also picked up that on the SAA records, there are Emirates airline records. So I'm grappling with that. I don't understand. Probably when this matter is further
Yes.
examined, that would be clarified to me.
Yes.
But lastly, Chair, I would like to request the Chair that we should also, both myself and my legal team, together with the Commission and its investigators, another record that can help us further get to the bottom of this matter, our Voyager number, because
Yes.
when you check-in Voyager also.
Yes.
There's another way of
Yes.
comparing the airline
Yes.
records
Yes.
with the Voyager. So I'm making an
Yes.
appeal
Yes.
that too should be looked into.
Yes. No, that's fine. I'm sure that can be done. There should not be a problem about
There's no difficulty, Chair. We
Yeah.
can extend it to
Yes.
investigating any Voyager numbers that apply to Ms. Mentor.
Yeah.
And if I may request through you, Chair, to the extent that Ms. Mentor may remember any of the Voyager numbers she has, it would assist if she provided those to the Commission as well.
Yes, I take it probably would be one Voyager number.
I've always had
throughout,
one.
Yeah.
Then if she should make that available, it would probably facilitate.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. As things then stand, Chair, and as I said with that caveat, there is no flight for Monday. I keep looking behind me because the British Airways letter is not in D6, but it's supposed to be on its way, which would
Okay.
exclude British Airways as a carrier for the trip to Johannesburg and back.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Thank you, Chair. If I may then proceed, Chair, with your permission, I would like to very quickly deal with the inspection in local.
Yes.
As we indicated in the morning, and I think Mr. Helens confirmed that the inspection was undertaken on the 3rd of September,
What
December.
should I now have in front of me?
D6.
No, there are so many files here.
D6A.
D6, okay. And are we on D6A?
A,
Okay,
Chair.
all right. Proceed.
Thank you, Chair. The inspection was undertaken on the 3rd of December 2018. We gathered at 9 o'clock, but the actual inspection commenced at about 09:30 in the morning until 12:33 midday. And as I indicated previously, 3 parties recorded this inspection. We have available what I would call the raw footage of that inspection, which is literally videoing the group as it began its inspection until it officially closed it. This involves a lot of walking around to visit various properties, and it runs to something close to 3 hours. We would like to submit that into evidence as the formal video recording of the inspection itself by the Commission. We have, in the meantime, Chair, made an edited version of that video where we've taken out a whole lot of walking about and confined that recording to the actual pointing out and identifying the various properties. That video runs to 1 hour, 37 minutes. We also would like to submit it into evidence. So at this juncture, I would request that perhaps we give it an exhibit number. If we have one exhibit number, that would be for the full version, and perhaps that same number with A in brackets for the edited version, Chair.
Yes, no,
So-
that's fine. Have you got it? Have you got it there?
Yeah, we haven't submitted any exhibits with Ms. Mentor, so this would be the first. So we have a choice of following the D series to make it D7, or the Ds have been bundles, or we could probably number it Exhibit 1.
If an exhibit is not a document and it's real evidence, how do we normally do it? Do we use the same as the letters like D, E, or do
We
use
don't
the
normally
one?
use the bundle numbering, we use the exhibit numbering.
It's not all, my recollection, that's not the same.
It's not the same,
A,
Chair.
B, C, D, but exhibit 1 or something.
Then, because there might be other Exhibit 1s with other witnesses, may this one be Exhibit VM1, then we know that it's. Yeah. But we have my leader here suggests the next number after D6 is what it should be numbered. So that would make it D7, Chair.
But my question was whether something tells me that there's a distinction when it's a document, an exhibit is a document, and when it's something else like real evidence, that you don't use the one for everything. If it's a document, you might say it exhibit A, but if it's real evidence, it's got to be something else other than A. I don't know whether we got it wrong from the beginning by using one, exhibit one, and so on, when it should have been A. You are not sure about that?
My view, Chair, was that the bundles would have their own series. Now, Ms. Mentor's series is D, and that is correct. Her statement was the fourth statement, and that was bundle D. So every other file that was submitted following that then acquired a number D1 to D6 as we currently stand.
Yeah, but that doesn't answer my question.
Yes, I'm getting to the question, Chair,
saying,
and I'm saying this being an exhibit and a video, it's not a document.
Well, maybe provisionally we can give it a certain number, but maybe tomorrow when we resume, you might have just reflected on how it's, what we should be doing, and then we can make sure we do the right thing.
I'll do so, Chair. With I think Mr. Agrizi was the first to submit videos, so perhaps I'll have a discussion with Mr. Pretorius to see whether we are going to have a particular series for these videos, or we'll find a way of labeling them, attaching them to a particular witness.
Yes.
I'll come back to you on that one, Chair, first thing in the morning.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Then moving on to the next video, it would be the video Mr. Helens addressed this morning. Mr. Helens requested that the video that was captured by the Gupta family team be formally admitted into evidence. And I suggest, Chair, that it follow the numbering of the Commission's video.
Well, have you, as the legal team or yourself, have you reflected on whether that should happen or whether that should not happen?
We have, Chair, the Chair will recall before Advocate Helens addressed the Chair, our view, I expressed that our view was there must be one formal recording, and the formal recording can only be the Commission's recording. That is the recording of the inspection.
Yes.
And if the Chair is inclined to admit other recordings, then they must come after the formal recording.
Yes, but the question is whether I should.
We do not find the necessity.
The others. That's what
we don't find the
like
necessity, Chair, because the three should capture the same images, the same event.
Yes.
It is just a repetition, and as I indicated, to the extent that there are differences between them, it might be slight issues about which photographer decided to concentrate on one point at what juncture, but it doesn't detract from the totality of the video.
Yes, so maybe we should deal with maybe what we should call the official video of the Commission, and we don't admit any others for now, and the legal team can reflect properly on the issue. You remember that I said to him, if he makes available to the legal team certain evidence, the legal team may take the view that it's evidence that is relevant, that's material, from which the Commission can benefit, and therefore, irrespective of who had done the recording, they might ask that it be put in. But they might well say it really doesn't take anything further, and therefore it's unnecessary to put it in. At that stage, it may well be that Mr. Helens or his client may decide whether to pursue the request, in which case I might have to hear argument on the issue that I raised with him this morning. So,
Thank you, Chair.
so I think the sequence is, let's deal with the one that can be regarded as official. That is one. Two, the Commission's legal team should reflect on the issue of the other videos, particularly Mr. Helen's client's one. And in due course, the legal team can indicate what the result of its reflection is on that, and we take it from there.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
The legal team will reflect on that.
Yeah.
Two issues, Chair. For the record, I will state that Mr. Helens or the Gupta family attorneys did submit to the legal team their version of the video, if I may call it that. So that part of things has been attended to. Then the legal team will apply to its mind to the issues that are raised by the Chair. Seeing as that is 2 out of 3 videos, Chair, on your guidance, of course, it might be appropriate for Ms. Mento's team to take a view whether they would also like to submit theirs, and it will be dealt with in the same manner as the Chair decides to deal with Mr. Helen's video, should they so elect.
Yeah, the important thing is there is homework to be done before any video recording is put forward for admission.
Thank you, Chair.
What it is that is relevant that it has that the official one doesn't have. How material is that? How far does it take us? Whatever it is that it might have that the other one might not have. That's the homework that needs to be done first.
We shall do the homework, Chair, and we'll compare the 3.
Okay.
And we will come back to you, Chair.
Okay.
On that score, Chair, as the Chair is aware, the Commission engaged the services of experts from the built environment to assist with any issues that would arise during the course of the inspection, and in particular, to assist with any queries where the features described by Ms. Mento were no longer to be found on the property, accepting that there's been a lapse of about 9 years since she last visited. And we obtained the services of an engineer, structural engineer, an architect, and some other specialties provided through the Department of Public Works. The experts have since filed a report. Firstly, let me confirm that they attended the inspection and they were present throughout the duration of the inspection, and they have subsequently filed a report. And that report, Chair, is at bundle D6A, starting at page 184. It will run to page 184, Chair, and runs to page 216.
Sorry, Solo, I
Yes,
missed you, the bundle number?
Page 184, bundle D6, page A, page 184.
D6A or B?
Exhibit D6A,
Yes.
page 184.
I found it,
You
Chair,
found
thank
it.
you.
Starts at 184, and it will run to page 216. Now, Chair, from page 213, this being an annexure to the report itself, is the brief to the Department of Public Works, to the experts from the Commission. And this brief,
Shouldn't that have come before the report?
Uh,
The normal sequence.
normal sequence, yes, but the experts made it an annexure to their report. So We took the view that
Yeah,
there would have been two otherwise. The normal sequence would have been, here is the brief, the execution of the brief, and the report arising from the execution of that
yes,
brief.
okay,
Now, Chair, from 213 to 216, the Commission gives a background to why their services are necessary, what they are required to do, and at paragraph 8, in particular, on page 215, there is a list of the features that Ms. Mento testified to that they are requested to investigate during the inspection in loco. There would be
Yes.
5 items.
yes, you want to,
Now, I want to draw your attention to 8.5, which is a door adjacent to the ladies' restroom leading to the gentlemen's restroom.
yes,
Ms. Mento, in her supplementary affidavit, makes the point that her testimony was never that there was a gentleman's restroom adjacent to the ladies' restroom.
yes,
We would submit that that particular instruction was probably not correctly crafted. And for purposes of this report, that any finding as regards 8.5 be ignored because it does not arise directly from the testimony.
okay,
So we'll confine ourselves to the issues listed in 8.1 and 8.4.
okay.
That was a way of background, Chair. Now,
Do you want to read those? So,
I'm happy to chair.
Yeah.
What the experts were required to do, having been given a summary of Ms. Mento's testimony, the transcripts from the previous hearing where Ms. Mento speaks to these issues, as well as her statement. They are then requested, they are then told that Ms. Mento testified, 1, to the staircase leading to the main entrance of the house. Secondly, a pillar by a large window in a room where Ms. Mento alleges she sat to await the former president. Thirdly, a mural on one of the walls of the room Ms. Mento sat in. Fourthly, a guest restroom she was shown upon arrival, identified to as the ladies' restroom, decorated in gold with golden faucets and knobs, as well as gold gilded mirrors on the walls. The fifth would have been the one that I suggest be excluded, which is a door adjacent to the ladies' restroom leading to the gentlemen's restroom.
yes,
The list of those features is then followed by what is required of the experts to participate in the inspection in loco, to conduct a visual inspection of the property or properties in question, and the specific features that are listed above and pointed out by Ms. Mento, and to record any request by Ms. Mento during the course of investigation, to prepare an assessment report at the conclusion of the inspection addressed to the chair of the commission, and to provide advice where necessary of the extent and potential cost of any structural investigations that may be requested by Ms. Mento. That report has been filed, Chair, and that report is what appears from page 184. The report summarizes.
Do you have a witness that will say, I was part of the team that did this, and we compiled the report and
Yes, yes, Chair.
this?
There is a
Okay,
witness.
Because otherwise, some of the things you can put to him or her, and then we can,
Indeed, Chair.
Yeah.
There is a witness able to speak to these issues. It starts at 184, and just in general terms, it gives the background to the inspection. It lists how the inspection was carried out. It then sets out what was observed by the team.
well, what I was saying is that exactly that you can put to the witness that you are going to call, and he or she can then get going with it.
Yes, Chair.
What was their mandate from the commission? What were they to look for? They looked for it. What did they use to look for it? And these are the conclusions. They are contained in the report that they compiled. That report is at page this to that.
Yes, Chair, that will happen, and we intend to do that. What I'm stating to the Chair is for different purposes, if I may complete. And the only point I seek to make is that the report sets out the process that was followed, the observations that were made, and makes its conclusions. The report is to a large extent consistent with the video recording in terms of describing what was done and the issues that Ms. Mento raised and requested further investigation on. Having said that to the Chair, I then request the Chair to indicate whether the Chair considers it necessary to watch the video of the inspection in loco, the long or short version as the case may be, or would the Chair be satisfied to deal with these issues through the expert witness alone?
At this stage, I would like to hear the evidence of somebody who was involved in this inspection, who was part of the compilation of the report, who tells me what their qualifications are to do this kind of thing, what they were asked to do, how they went about it, and that they compiled the report. They found this, they didn't find that. And these are their conclusions substantiated by way of what appears in paragraph so-and-so to so-and-so. And depending on that, I mean, I have read the report. I know what's in there. It might not be necessary for me to view the video recording now. But if later on I consider it necessary, then I would have access to it. So let's first hear somebody who will tell us whether some of these features that Ms. Mento had talked about were found and how they went about establishing whether they were there.
Chair, as I indicated, the witnesses are available now. They're in the next room, ready to be called should the Chair so require. The issues they canvass in that report are issues I would need to put to Ms. Mento. So.
Oh, okay. Well, if we are not done with Ms. Mento, let's get done with her. And on the basis that there will be witnesses who will say X, Y, Z, she can answer on the basis, because you know what they will say, the witnesses. Put that to her, she comments on that, and then they can come after her.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
So, yes, Ms. Mento?
Sorry, Chair.
Yes.
I don't want to play around with words.
Yes.
I raised this issue in August last year when I testified on the 29th. Was it 29th? To me, I don't know if it's my wrong English. To me, there is a difference between a staircase and steps.
Yes.
So if the brief said staircase, for me a staircase is a flight of stairs.
Yeah.
I've always spoken about the steps at the entrance of the house that I was taken to.
Yes.
Now, if the brief says, look for the staircase at the front of the house, for me it's what I've never said. And I spoke about the difference between staircase and steps in August last year. I have a slight
No, that's fine. Ms. Silo is going to put to you what the mandate was to the team, and that's when you raise the concern you are raising, and we take it from there. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Perhaps, Ms. Mento, we should dispose of that issue first then, because as you have just raised it. I refer you again to page 214.
Yes.
Of D6A. No, sorry, start at 213, and if you could have regard to page 215, item 8.
Yes.
And at 8.1, the experts are informed that you had advised of the following key features, and you testified to them: the staircase leading to the main entrance of the house. If I understood what you just said to the chair, you'd like to take issue with that particular brief, and that you didn't testify to a staircase leading to the entrance of the house.
Yes, I said steps, and I even said this number of steps.
Yes. Chair, I think the only way to resolve the issue is to gain an understanding from the experts as to their understanding of that brief, the use of the word staircase as opposed to steps, and the chair will determine in the fullness of time whether it makes a significant difference in any way to their findings.
Yeah, no, that's fine. The important thing would be first to make sure that we have a full understanding of what she had in mind in using certain terms.
Yes.
Then that can be put to the expert witnesses, and then we take it from there.
Thank you, Chair. So we have noted staircase versus steps issue.
Yes, ma'am.
The experts have provided an overview as Google Earth, I think, picture of the properties that we visited, and I would request that they be shown on the screen. And from there, then I will begin to ask Ms. Mento questions. It becomes easier that way.
What do you want to be shown on the screen?
The Google Earth map of the properties we visited in Saxonwold.
Oh, but before you do that, she has mentioned one concern in regard to the mandate given to the experts.
Yes,
Don't
Chair.
you want to check with her whether in regard to the mandate she has got any other issues before we get there?
My error, Chair, I'd assume that was her issue, but if there are more, I'm
Yes,
happy to
just so
know
that
them.
we are sure.
Indeed, Chair.
Yes, Ms. Mentor.
Chair,
Do you want to, no, 1 second. Do you want to once again just draw
go
to
through them.
her attention where we find the mandate to the experts?
It starts at page 213, Chair. D6A. And in particular 215 at paragraph 8, where we list what Ms. Mentor has testified to. There are five issues there.
They have been read before, but you can have a look at them, Ms. Mentor. Ms. Selo has already said that there's a problem with 8.5, so that's not going to be included because of what she said, but she says the ones that they are going to look at are 8.1 to 8.4. So the question is whether you have any issues with how the mandate was formulated for the experts if one goes from 8.1 to 8.4.
I beg your pardon, just a second, Chair.
Take your time.
Yeah, no, that's fine. For what it's worth, maybe I just read so others can follow. Paragraph 8 at page 215 reads, the experts were advised of the following key features that Ms. Mentor testified to. 8.1, the staircase leading to the main entrance of the house. 8.2, a pillar by a large window in a room Ms. Mentor alleges she sat to await the former president. 8.3, a mural on one of the walls of the room Ms. Mentor sat in. 8.4, a guest restroom she was shown upon arrival, identified to her as the ladies' restroom, decorated in gold with golden faucets and knobs, as well as gold, is that
Gilded mirrors.
gilded, yeah, mirrors on the walls.
The only
yes.
slight difference, Chair,
Yes.
would be that in my testimony, I attested to 2 large windows
Yes.
not one window.
Okay.
So I note that 8.2
Refers to
refers
one.
to one window.
Okay.
In relation to the pillar.
Okay, okay. But other than that, and what you said earlier on, yeah, there's no problem with that mandate.
In terms of, although, Chair,
Yeah,
there are things that I have documented in my supplementary statement
yes,
that was sent through last night,
yes,
that I argue that should have formed part of the
Of the
brief.
mandate.
And they were not in the brief.
which you had included in your evidence.
Yes, Chair, which I've already pointed out in my
Yeah.
evidence.
Yeah, but when you were, when you were doing the inspection, did you raise those to say there are also these other things that I had mentioned in my evidence, and to see whether they could be looked at, or were they, or are there is it things that you did not mention at the inspection?
At the inspection, I raised issues that were there and issues that were there before that were no longer there. But
Yeah.
the understanding of our brief, Chair, if I'm not prolonging this
Yes,
matter,
yes.
was that the experts would go back
Yes.
to go and do certain work.
Okay.
But then it transpires that they did not go back, and
Yeah.
what that ended up just as a visual overview.
Okay.
I had that's things that, for instance, the kitchen, the passage leading from the kitchen, the bathrooms, the passage,
Yes.
and their locations were as I had defined them in
Yeah.
my statement.
Yeah,
But there were also certain changes that I queried,
yeah,
and that I had asked the experts to return, because that is what the understanding we were given,
Yeah.
that they would return to do structural inspection of whether there has been changes and addition, and that did not happen. And
Yeah.
to that extent, I labor those issues
Yeah.
in the statement I
yes,
submitted
last night.
last night,
Yeah.
including the fact that we had also asked for the original plan
Yeah.
of the house, as it would attest to whether there had been changes. So there are a whole lot of things that I raised in the Chair that should have been the brief that I think were not the brief.
Yes, I think what should happen is at some stage during your evidence in regard to the inspection, if you are able to do specify the things that you, officials of the house, which you had included in your evidence last year, which might not have been part of the mandate given to the experts, and then say whether during the inspection you saw them, they are there or not, okay? All right, Ms. Silo?
Thank you, Chair. And perhaps for record purposes, Ms. Mento deals with these aspects of issues in her supplementary affidavit,
Yes,
which starts at 547, bundle D6B, and in particular from paragraphs 13
yes,
to paragraph
or she covers
18.
them.
She deals with some of the
Okay.
issues that she has
Okay,
raised.
that's
Some of them, yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Now, Ms. Mento, you confirm that you had, through your annexure MPM2 to your original statement in bundle D1, and Chair, that appears from page 37D, provided a picture of the entrance gate to the property you stated you were taken to on the day you met the president. It's D1, page 37 bracket D and following. Those are annexures you provided of the property you were taken to. You confirm that? It's in the...
I confirm that this was part of the annexures
Yes,
we
ma'am.
submitted.
Indeed. And having confirmed that, then inform the chairperson that our inspection in local began at number 5 Saxonwold Drive in Saxonwold.
Yes.
And we arrived there, and Ms. Mento, I don't know if you will confirm that the entrance to number 5 Saxonwold we visited on the 3rd of December is in line with what you have in Annexure D, 37D.
If I may add that, at the in-loco inspection, I pointed out that on the day in 2010, when we visited the property, outside, on top of the wall, the metal balustrades were non-existent. That's a feature that I pointed out to the expert team on the day
Yes.
of.
So it was something that had not been there before,
In
but that was
2010,
there.
that
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
Chair.
Okay.
And, sorry, Chair. If Chair would have regard to page 37D of D1, it's a balustrade on the wall, on the boundary wall.
D1?
D1, page 37, bracket D, that's the first picture of number 5 Saxonwold.
I have 37E and F.
Do you not
And
have
G?
D, 37D, DE being in brackets?
Oh, D, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
for David, yes.
Yes.
So just pointing out to the chair that the balustrades on the boundary wall are the ones you raised issue with and said they were not there at the time you visited. But other than that, the gate looked familiar, and you said that is the property you had visited in August 2010.
You mean the property, you mean the wall
The wall-
outside?
and the gate and everything that is depicted on that picture.
What I said when we were doing the in-loco inspection is that I remember the gates opening after we spoke to, we found a security guard
Yes.
at the gate, and that there was a tree, and we found the tree. And the driver spoke for a little bit to the security guard, after which the gates opened and we drove through.
Are you now telling us what happened during the inspection in local, or are you telling us what you said last year in this commission about what happened when you visited the property in 2010?
I'm talking about what I narrated when we were
Last
doing
year.
the inspection.
Oh, okay, all right. Maybe let's do this. You see the document, the picture that is at 37D. You see that picture. It's suggested that that picture represents the gate and part of the walls of the property. You see that?
Yes, I see the picture, Chair.
You see that, yeah. Now, you have told me that there is something that was there when you visited this property during the inspection in loco, but that had not been there in 2010. Do you want to just repeat what that is?
Okay, Chair. Chair, do you see, if you move to the left of the gate,
Yes.
the wall on
Yes.
the left of the gate,
Yes,
you see the concrete part of the wall.
yes,
On top of
The-
the concrete part,
yes,
there are metal.
yes, yes. I can see them, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are the things I call metal balustrades.
Yes, okay. You
That
say,
it's a security feature,
yes,
which I realized during the in-loco inspection.
Yes.
That the day we went to the property,
yes,
those features were not on the wall
in 2010.
in 2010.
Okay, all right. Otherwise, everything else in terms of that picture is still as it was in 2010.
What I've been battling to recall, Chair,
Yes, okay.
is whether the gate itself,
Yes.
whether it was solid,
Yes.
the two flaps of the gate,
Yes,
whether they were solid,
Yes.
or whether they were with
Wooden.
metal things that
Oh,
you can
okay.
see through.
Okay.
That's
okay.
what I've been
You're not
battling
sure
with.
about
I've been
that.
trying to, I can't
Yeah.
retract from
You
my
can't
memory.
remember.
Yes,
Okay,
Chair.
no, that's fine. But other than those two issues you have raised with regard to the picture at page 37D, that picture represents what you saw on in 2010.
I remembered the tree also outside the gate, Chair.
Oh, okay, okay, and the tree is still there.
Yes, I
when you
can see the
visited.
tree here, but what was not there when we did the in loco I didn't see any temporary structure that's security, but that was a temporary structure anyway in 2010. But that tree, I remember, I remember it was there in 2010.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay.
Chair. And if I just might mention for record purposes that Ms. Mento deals with this at paragraph 78 of her original statement and refers to those pictures as MPM2. And she says, in respect thereof, that we, the other two Gupta brothers who had collected me from the airport and I, then drove from the Sahara building and we arrived at a huge residential home which I did not recognize. I now know that this is the Gupta home in Saxonwold, which appears in pictures attached here to marked MPM2. So we departed from that premise, Chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Ms. Mento, you testified that when you arrived at the Gupta residence, as you describe it in your statement, and you walked through the gates, there were 4 or 5, or about 5 houses. Do you recall that your testimony in that regard? Last year in August.
Yes, I said in the compound there were about 4 or so houses.
Yeah, after you entered the compound, there were 4 or 5 houses.
Yes, I said I recall that there were about 4 or 5 houses.
Do you confirm, you don't have any difficulty confirming to the chairperson that when we arrived at number 5, Saxonwold Drive, and we walked through the gates, we found only one house, in a sense that there were no other houses adjacent to it, and it was one house with solid with brick boundary walls.
Well, maybe you just say, you said that inside the compound, that is when you gave evidence last year in this commission, you said inside the compound there were about 4 or 5 houses. Is that right?
Yes, Chair.
Yes. When you visited the property on the inspection in loco, did you see or find that there were those 5 houses?
Chair, I battled with a dividing wall at some point. The first thing that struck me when we entered, I said that I seemed to feel that there was not a wall dividing some houses or 2 houses or so.
Okay, maybe let's deal with this. Let's talk about the 4 or 5 houses that you had said in this commission you had seen in 2010. You went there now during the inspection in loco. Did you see them again?
I saw houses divided but not in the same space.
Not in this, in what you referred to as compound. I don't know if I think that's
Yes, Chair,
the word, yeah.
not sharing the same parameter,
Yes.
but sharing a divided parameters.
Yes. So is the position that what you saw during the inspection in loco in terms of houses inside what you referred to as the compound, is the position that it didn't reflect the impression that you had had before? In other words, it didn't seem to be what you had understood or to be the position in 2010.
I might say so, Chair. Although there are 2 houses that when we did the in loco inspection,
Yes.
appeared to be congruent with what I remembered from 2010,
Yes.
apart from the fact that in my memory,
Yes.
rightfully or wrongfully,
Yes.
in 2010,
Yes.
there was no wall between them.
Yes, yes, but not 4 or 5 as you had thought
Yes, when
earlier
we
on.
did the in-loco inspection.
Yes, okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. At this juncture, I'll request that we put up the Google Earth map, just for reference purposes, it would assist on the
Yeah.
screen, Chair.
Okay,
It appears at page 1 of the expert's report.
yes,
And if it may come up, and you have it in your expert report, Ms. Mento.
In D6,
D6 is starting
A or B?
page 184, and the picture itself is at page 185.
I'm at
And
185.
the purpose of pulling up this picture, Chair, is because the inspection involves moving from one property to the next. So as we talk about the
Yes.
various movements, they are easier to follow.
yes,
We could work off Annexure A. I think there's a struggle to bring up the correct picture.
Yes,
But it
okay.
is the same as Annexure A. Could you blow it, can we have it blown up a bit? Thank you. And if you could scroll up or down a bit so that the bottom property show, no, the other way, please. Again, yes, you can stop. Chair, what we have depicted there, and in red drawing, it shows number 7, and next to it, in a red square as well, is number 5, Saxonwell Drive. To the bottom of number 5 is number 3, followed by number 1. The image that we see from pages 37C and D1 is the gate to number 5 Saxonwell Drive.
where is the gate to number 5?
It would be on the main road. The main road, when I'm looking at the screen, is to my right. That is Saxonwell Drive.
Where is there some,
There, they indicate it for us.
well, I think what should have been done is to mark A, B, or whatever of the points that we need to look at. The gate is on a corner, is that right?
No, Chair, it's when one looks at the properties, they start at property 1. There is the better picture. They start at number 1.
I
I
see
here.
2, 3, 4, and 5. I don't see
The one is erroneously, I don't know why that has 2. Where the controller is drawing a circle, the chair will see the number 1, not the blue number. That is 1 Saxonwell Drive. It's
Yes.
then bordered by 3 Saxonwell Drive,
Yeah,
followed by 5, and lastly by 7.
yeah. So is it 7A?
7, yes. No, 7A is outside the red boundary line. We are looking at just the 7 that appears between the 4 and the 5.
Well, I can't see a 7, but I see the space between 4 and 5.
They're circling the 7 with a pointer.
Sorry, Chair, through you.
Yes, ma'am.
If
Yes,
they are settling 7 there, what is that 7A?
7A is another property. 7 is the property that we visited that is adjacent to number 5 Saxonwell Drive.
yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. And so I was just saying, Ms. Mentor, you confirmed that we then went into number 5 Saxonwell Drive when we first arrived. And at that property, we had a discussion around the issue of a complex and the 4 and 5 houses that you had testified you had seen on the day you had gone in August 2010. You recall that conversation?
Are you saying we started at, in site number 5?
Yes.
Didn't we go around outside and then we went to other properties and then we came back?
Okay, let me understand. What do you mean inside? Inside the house or inside the
Yes,
property?
inside the house.
No, I'm saying inside the property. We went onto the property itself, but did not gain entry into the house itself at that point. And at that juncture...
Well, I don't know if... I know you are trying to make sure that you're on the same page, but is it not going to be better if you just go to the real issue, the fissures? Say, you said in your evidence last year, in regard to that property, there is this fissure. We went there, did you see it?
And that's what I'm trying to do. We went into number 5 and we found one property there. Do you confirm that?
Yes, I would appreciate it as if we approach it the way Chair suggests.
Okay.
That we must zoom into the property in which I said I find some of the features that were there in 2010.
Yes.
Because otherwise, you send me on a wild goose chase.
Yeah.
And I'm
Chair.
getting tired.
Chair, if I may, we are right now, there are exterior issues about the property and interior issues.
Yes.
I am now talking about the exterior issues and trying to understand whether, or at least trying to, I thought we can agree with Ms. Mento that at number 5, Saxonwell Drive, there is one house. And that's the only thing. We will still deal with the interior of the property.
Put that to her.
I'll try once again.
Yeah.
At 5 Saxonwell Drive, Ms. Mento, when we went in, we found one house.
Yes, when
Yes,
we went
thank
for
you.
in-local inspection.
And just to let you know, Chair, if they can reduce it again, I know you zoomed in, and the video will show, and the expert's report shows as well.
Excuse
And-
me,
yes,
excuse
ma'am.
me. If I may
Sorry.
go back, slightly back.
Yes.
Yes, we found one property
Yes.
in number 5, and during that tour, in local, I queried the wall between number 7 and the number 5, if it had always been there. But as we saw it
Yes,
on that day,
yes.
it was a fenced-off
Yes.
property, a standalone property.
Yes. You talk about the property, but there could be a house on the
house.
property. We talk about one house in the property described as number 5, is that right?
Indeed, Chair.
Yeah, okay. Are you talking on the same thing? One house in the property described as number 5, is that right?
Yes, Chair, I think we should say house.
Yeah, house,
Yes.
yeah.
We
Okay.
shall refer to house.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't think this will be a contentious issue, Chair. We might dispose of it. After we did an external inspection, not really an inspection, just a look around at number 5, Ms. Mento then requested that we visit all the other properties before we gain access into the houses themselves. That's correct, right? So we didn't go into number 5 after we got onto the property. We didn't go inside the house. We then went and looked at the other houses.
But if ultimately you did go into the house on number 5, you may as well deal with it now. But if you never went in, that's fine.
Chair, we did go in, and if the Chair would bear with me as to why I do this, it's because during the inspection, Ms. Mento discounts certain properties, and I would like them, they are off the table completely. Then they did not merit any further investigations.
Okay,
And then
let's
we
hear.
talk about the actual inspection,
Yeah.
which was limited to only 2 properties.
Okay,
Hence the question. Yes,
yes,
ma'am.
Ms. Mentor.
May I make things easy for all of us?
Please.
And save time.
Yeah.
I discounted the properties and I settled eventually on property number 5, Saxonwell, and I think we must talk about that property.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's...
That house.
Yes, then
that's
that
useful.
answers my question. So 1 and
Yes.
3 are off the table. She discounted completely. You settled on 5 and 7, and we had a full inspection of both 5 and 7.
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to start with 7. Ms. Mento's visit was in August 2010, and the experts have a number of pictures here, annexures, starting at Chair D6, page 203. These are annexures to the report. And these go up to 212, Annexure J. What these pictures are depictions of property number 7, over a period. So what the experts did, they went back in time to download the Google Earth pictures and see what number 7 looked like at any given point. They start at page 203, Annexure A, dated the 26th of August 2009. And they go until the 3rd of December 2018, which is when we conducted the inspection. The importance of these aerial pictures, Chair, is the experts express a view based on these pictures that at the time Ms. Mento visited Saxon World, number 7 was a construction site.
Well, we must always start with what she told the commission. So in regard to the property on 7, if there's this is what she said. This is what the experts found. For me, that's going to be much more convenient.
Yes, it would be,
Yes.
Chair, I agree. The only difficulty is when she testified in August, there was no number 5, number 7. It was a complex, it was a compound. So what instead we found are 4 separately walled properties.
Yes.
And we place on record that 1, 3, 5, 7 are owned by the Guptas. Ms. Mento required also that we have an inspection of number 7, which we did. And that is why it is necessary to talk of number 7 now.
Yes, but I'm more keen that she gives the evidence.
Indeed,
You will have an expert who will give evidence about what they found. I'm keen that you get to the point where you say, in regard to a certain property, which later on we refer to as number 7, this is what she said. And then the report or the experts, this is what they found. Give her the chance to comment on that, say, I agree, I don't agree, or whatever.
For the record, Ms. Mento did not testify as to number 7, Chair. Yes. The investigators established that the Guptas own 1357.
Yeah. So why are we
It was
talking about
put
number
to
7?
number 7. It was put to Ms. Mento whether number 7 is one of the properties she would like to consider, which she confirmed. Am I correct? At the
But
time
why-
of the
why-
inspection.
Why was she asked about something that she had never testified about?
Because when we were at number 5, she posed the question whether besides the structure that we see at number 5, there are other structures, other houses. And to quote her, the question was, where have the other houses gone? And the response was that there are 4 houses in a row.
Okay, I'll tell you what we must do. Let's go inside number 5.
Number 5.
Then
I'm happy to go
if you
into
need
number
to
5.
go talk about number 7, let's go inside number 5. What features did she testify about last year before this
is-
commission? What features were found or were not found?
It is what's listed at page 215, Chair, under paragraph 8, what the experts were requested to investigate. So the first thing we did was to consider the staircase, or you say the steps to the main entrance of the house. You confirm that? In your testimony, sorry, you have to say it verbally.
I did
Sorry.
say.
Oh. In your testimony, you said that you had gone up 5 or 6 steps. You confirmed that when we were on site at number 5, we found steps which when counted were 10. Yes, ma'am.
May I speak to that?
Yes, just comment.
Yes.
Or let's go back one by one. Let her comment on each question you put to her. You went inside number 5, Saxon World, is that right?
Right, Chair?
Okay. If you can then say, in regard to what was to be found in that house, one of the things you had said was X, and then see if that was found or that wasn't found. Then she is able to comment on each one until we finish.
I'll try again, Chair. One of the main issues of her testimony is that there were 5 steps.
5 to 6. 5 or
5
6.
to 6 steps, you
Between
maintain.
4 and 6, yes.
You confirm that that was your evidence
Yes,
last
Chair.
year, okay?
Now, do you recall how many we found actually? The report states that we found 10 steps. Do you confirm that?
Chair, we found 10 small steps. And my first comment about them was that in 2010, when I was there, I was on crutches.
Yes.
And I did not struggle to scale the stairs because they were wide enough.
Yes.
The first thing that I noted on the stairs as we scaled them to go in the steps into the house was that they were so narrow that even to date, without crutches, with my leg issue, I needed support and help up those stairs. So I pointed that to the expert to say that, you know, these stairs may have been reconfigured to make them smaller, because as I went on them in 2010, even on crutches, I did not struggle as I am struggling with them right now.
Okay.
Thank
Next,
you, Chair. At the time, your testimony was that there were 5, 6 marble steps, white in color,
Grayish white.
grayish white.
That's what I said.
You confirm we found 10 steps of black granite.
Yeah, gray, if you
Well,
say
grey,
black.
unpolished
fine.
grey, yes.
Charcoal, whatever.
All right.
You say
Yes.
black, I would say grayish.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll live with grey.
Okay.
We then went up the stairs and we entered through the front door.
Yes.
Can you tell the chair what we found when we entered through the front door?
When we entered, Chair, the first thing that struck me is that what you would call the area where I had sat in 2010, for my own definitive purposes, I would call the reception area or the hallway.
Yes.
In 2010, it was very wide. And as I said in my testimony, it was wide and sparsely furnished. But when we entered during the in-locus inspection, there was a structure to the right that made the space smaller. A structure to the right with a door. And on opening that door, we realized that that is a kind of a boardroom or a study, a feature that was not there in 2010. And then we also noticed that there is another, of the big space that was there in 2010, another amount has been walled in to make a kind of a lounge. So I demonstrated to the team that these are 2 features that were not there in 2010 that may have been added. And I said that I find it difficult to show them, I abstractly showed them beyond the wall and the lounge where I would have been positioned. Because in 2010 there were 2 couches.
Yes.
Perpendicular to one another. The other one was in line with the passage towards the bathrooms.
Yes.
The other one was facing towards the kitchen. I had sat on the one that is facing towards the kitchen, that was facing towards the passage from which the chef came when he was fetched.
Yes.
So I immediately said that there has been a reconstruction here.
Yeah.
And I asked the expert to look into that reconstruction, and I asked them to look when the features that to me are new could have been added, whether they have always been there or whether they have been added with time.
Okay.
Thank you.
There is another feature, I don't know if the chair wants me to continue.
Yes, you can continue.
Okay. Having defined the space that would have been where I seated in 2010, the passage leading to the bathroom I was shown was consistent with what I knew and saw in 2010.
Yes.
So was the bathroom.
Yes.
What I battled with the bathroom.
Well, maybe before you proceed, tell me what it is that you saw in regard to the bathroom that was consistent with what you had seen in 2010 that you would have told us or you told us about last year.
What was consistent with it, it was its geographic positioning in the house.
Yes.
Chair.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Together with the passage that led to it.
Yes.
excuse me, I opened the bathroom
Yes.
because, as I testified, for me in 2010, the bathroom was very small as compared to the gigantic house
Yes.
and the gigantic space in which
Yes.
I had seated. In 2010, and I pointed out that also to the team, that it was difficult for me to, the door to the
Yes.
bathroom did not open all the way.
Yes.
It opened 2/3 of the way.
Yes.
And I literally had to a little bit of squeeze in.
Yes.
But when we did the local inspection, the door opened all the way. That was the first difference I noticed.
Yes.
I said to the team, I am not sure, the bathroom still looks smallish, but I said to the team, it looks like much as it is smaller, it's slightly bigger than when I was here in 2010. It's still small though.
Yes.
And I asked them to check if there would have been an extension. I also commented about the position of the toilet seat and the basin. I said that I'm not sure if the arrangement of the toilet seat and the basin is congruent with what I noticed in 2010. And also, when we did the in-local inspection check, the bathroom looked, I don't want to be rude. I want to choose my words carefully. I know the last time I used the word obese and people frowned. For me, the bathroom looked, when you compare, in November last year, when you compare the bathroom to the whole house, it looked a little bit dilapidated. It was a downgrade as compared to the house and the aura and the finesse of the house. And it was very different from when I saw it in 2010. There was a tiny little bit of gold feature on the, not real gold, but gold-looking feature on the tap of the basin and somewhere. The doorknobs were not golden. The French mirror was not on the wall. So those are the distinct features. But the mirror is something you can remove and put back. But I asked the team to check for me the toilet seat and the basin, if they had always been in that order in which, because I remembered clearly where I sat in 2010 and where I washed my hands, and it also the relation, the position or positional relation of the basin and the bathroom window. That's the one feature. As I already said, the kitchen was in the geographic position that it was in 2010. And the passage from which the chef was fetched, because I had said that they approached from, the position was okay. In 2010, I did not go to the kitchen. So those are the features that I'm not yet done, Chair, sorry. Yes. I also noticed that the two big windows, there were windows there, but they were no longer as big as they were in 2010. I did not see the pillar when we visited in November. But I noticed also, I said to the team from the expert team, whereas the height was the ceilings were high, meaning I found that there was a bit of an elongation in terms of the height, and also a feature that I had not seen in 2010 was existent when we visited in November. there was no, I don't know what they call, I have what I call roof windows in my
Yes.
house.
Yes.
Closer to the area where there would have been a pillar, the wall was a bit, looked higher, and there was a roof window that I would not have missed in 2010, because that is the direction at which I was, of the wall, where I was admiring the mural. There were murals on the walls when you enter from the steps, when you enter, but what we found were Asian, like Buddhist features. They were not the painting that I've admired. And of course, the structure that is, the walls that had been added to make the lounge were obstructing the wall that I had looked at and admired the murals, which I said they were like abstract art, but if you paid close look, you'd see little angels. So those are the discrepancies that I found. So the features of the positioning of there are things I found, there are things that I found have changed, and that I've asked, because we were made to believe the team would go back to ascertain whether they've always been there. And then we said, in any case then, we would also love to have the original plan of the house.
I might not have asked you last time, but at some stage I intended asking you. I can understand when you have been to a house and there is some feature that's quite prominent and maybe unusual, maybe unique, that feature would stay in your mind for a long time, or may stay in your mind for a long time. But there are quite a lot of details that you seem to remember very well. And this was 2010 when you visited the house. When did you write down, commit to paper what you had seen? Is there something that you wrote down, a statement at a certain stage while everything was fresh in your mind to enable you to remember some of the details? As I say, with regard to some things, then maybe it might be easy, but some of the details, I for one would not, I think, remember. Is there somewhere where you wrote and that has enabled you to remember maybe where you wrote what you had observed?
No, Chair, I did not write anything anywhere. But when I went public, and also with the prospects of the public protector going to testify with the public protector,
Yes, yes.
I knew that I had to remember things, to ask myself, what did I see and what did I not see? And Chair, I had been to, I can tell you, I've been to the Parliament of Brazil.
Yes,
And that was about 10 years ago.
yes,
I would tell you now
yes,
the features
yes.
of things I like that are still standing
yes.
in my memory, in the
Yes.
what I found, that there is a blue interior. There are plants inside where, because I noticed that the contrast between our chambers and their chambers.
Yes.
I had been to the parliament of what is called House of Deputies in
Yes.
Italy. I also vividly remember how they are, if you ask me now, I will tell you
Yes.
distinct features of how those chambers
Yes.
differ
Yeah.
with our chambers.
Yeah.
I can tell you the features of the hotel foyer in 2010 where I stayed.
Yes.
It was a brand new hotel.
Yes.
Where I stayed during the I don't know if it is me or if it is my mind,
Yes.
but there are certain things that I would, especially I love art also, Chair.
Yes.
So I also love beautiful things. If, for instance, when I walked into the Gupta toilet, it reminded me of the toilet of Miss Tina Jumat Patterson way back in the 1990s. It was similar. If you may ask her that she had golden, so I don't know, but
Yes.
I also knew that I will have to prove that once I went public, I will have to remember the features. So, because naturally are things that would be not difficult for me to dig out.
Yes. When you needed to go and see the public protector in regard to your visit to the Gupta residence, am I right to say that was in 2015, or is that not there? Was it earlier?
It's 16.
2016.
It's in the year, the same year in which I
In which,
engaged with Mr. Mtolo.
oh, okay.
2016 July.
2016 July. So
Yes.
I assume that you would have prepared a statement at some stage before you went to see her, the public protector, that recorded what you had seen or how you had got there and so on. Is that right? What you had seen at the Gupta's residence and how you had got there and so on.
You mean a written statement, Chair?
Yes, that you, before you went to meet with the public protector, I'm assuming that you may have prepared a statement that recorded what would be your evidence before the public protector.
There are things that I submitted in writing to the public protector.
Yes, yes,
It was things that I myself,
yes,
as I had been doing my own investigation
yes,
into the Guptas and into corruption,
yes,
I began to do.
yes,
None of them entailed the features in the house of the Guptas.
yes,
Those features I remembered when the public protector asked me, but also the media, particularly the Sunday Times. Jan Hubert interviewed me about twice on my visit to the Gupta house. And she said to me, Ms. Bento, can you tell us the features inside the Gupta house? And then I said to him, I wouldn't tell you because that's going to be my evidence later if we end up in court. Because if I divulge now what I saw inside there. So I have always, since I went public, been conscious of the fact that one day I'm going to be asked, what did you see when you were in that house?
Okay, but my question was whether prior to going to see the public protector, there was a statement that you had prepared which included what you had observed in the Gupta residence in 2010.
No, Chair. The public protector notified me at very short notice
Yes,
to go and see her.
yes,
Firstly, it was a telephone call,
yes.
and then...
No, that's fine. So the,
but no, I didn't prepare
the answer
anything
is
for
that
her.
you did not prepare any statement.
No, I had things that I had prepared already, even before she subpoenaed me, that I gave her, but that had nothing to do with the features inside the Gupta house.
But were they, or did they include a statement or did they not include a statement? Or it was just notes?
It was just notes, Chair.
Okay, no, that's fine. When can we say you made a statement for the first time that talked about your visit to the Gupta residence and what you observed? When was such a statement made? The first statement to record how you got there and your what you observed in that residence.
Chair, you've asked me two questions. Let me understand whether your questions are two.
Okay, maybe let me answer this one and then we'll
No,
go to
in that
another
one, I'm checking if there are two questions.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure if there are two, so I'll ask you this question that I'm going to ask now. Forget about those ones, might be the same thing. When did you prepare a statement for the first time that talked about how you got to the Gupta residence and what you observed there?
Chair, I did not prepare a statement in writing. I did an interview
Yes,
with,
okay.
the public protector.
Okay, no,
and that interview was came in the form, now is a transcript.
It's a transcript, okay, all right. But in terms of a statement that you signed, before you prepared the statement that was used in this commission, had you prepared a statement with or without the assistance of anybody that recorded your visit to the Gupta residence and what you saw there on that occasion?
Chair, when the commission was announced,
Yes.
I tried to prepare a statement on by myself.
Yes.
It was like a long book,
Yeah.
and then I think I had, firstly, my legal team represented me when I went to the High Court and all those, and then that's how I discovered how a proper statement
Yes.
should be crafted.
Yes.
Then I tried again to craft a statement all by myself. So I've had those kind of exercises. And then I had meeting with the team of the commission.
Yes.
And I think,
That would have been last year sometime.
yes.
Yes. Okay, if it was last year, that's enough for my purposes now.
Okay.
So, in 2016, is it correct that therefore there was no statement as such that you had prepared with or without the assistance of anybody, but there were some notes that you had prepared which you gave to the public protector, and the public protector had an interview with you where you related what you had to say?
Sure, there was a statement in the sense that I made a statement to the police when I
Yes.
laid charges.
Yes, yes.
A component of that statement speaks about my departure from Cape Town, going to Saxon World, etc., etc. But
Yes.
the statement does not give the features in the
Of the
house.
house, yeah. That statement was prepared in which year? Are you able to remember? Or
It was in May 2016.
2016?
Yes, Chair.
So would it be correct, therefore, to say that the earliest document that exists which records how you got to the residence and what you saw once you were at the residence is that statement, if it does include that, but I think you said it might not have included the features in the house.
Yeah, it doesn't include the features.
But it
It
says
talks
how
about my travel
your travel and so
and
on,
what
yeah.
happened in the Saxon World
Yes.
house.
So the first statement, or now during the interview with the public protector, do you talk to her about the features in the house that you observed?
I think I did, Chair. I'll have to verify.
You would need to check. Okay, all right.
Yes,
I can't
Chair.
remember. I've read it, but I can't remember either.
Yes.
Okay, so would it, as we speak now, would it be correct that it is only the statement that you submitted to this commission that you are sure about exists that has the features of the house? Now that's where
I somehow
tabulated them.
I want to believe that I should have defined the features to the public protector too.
In terms of the transcript.
Yes, not in a statement form,
Yeah,
but in
a
an
transcript,
interview
yeah.
form.
Yeah, no,
I
that's fine.
suspect I should. I wonder why I would not have done that.
Yes. You see, what I'm a little concerned about is that if the first document we have in which you say what the features were that you saw in 2010, if that document is a document which is a recording of your interview with the public protector in 2016, that means a period of about, what, 4 years had lapsed? Or is it 6 years? Okay. Actually, yeah, 6 years. That seems to be quite a long time to remember some of the details, maybe not in terms of something that's quite prominent, but maybe some of the details. I don't know, I just want to give you a chance to say what you say about that. Somebody who says, but how does she remember? How could she have remembered these details 6 years after her visit if she had not even prepared a statement on which she could have refreshed her memory? Well, what do you say to that?
Sorry, I think I switched off the, yes.
Yes.
I remember the features and I had a desire to remember them. And there are things that I don't remember about that visit. For instance, I already said I don't remember whether the gate was see-through or was not see-through. But Chair, I remember the details.
Why did you have a desire to remember them, if you are able to tell us?
Because I knew that at first, when I went public chair, the Guptas threatened that they would sue me, and they threatened to take me to court. And I knew that I would have to get my ducks in a row in case they sue, as they had promised. So that is what I mean when I say that I had a desire to say, if you are asked, how can you prove you have been in that house? For instance, I don't remember what the floor looked. I know that it was not carpeted, but I don't remember the color of the tiling in 2010.
Yes. You said earlier on that you, if I understood you correctly, you did some investigation about the Guptas. Can you tell me more about the investigation that you did and when it was?
Chair, when the Guptas landed the wedding plane at Waterkloof, that's actually the first time when I went public on Facebook about the offer. And for some reason, and if anybody goes to my wall, they would find it. For some reason, the media did not pick that up. But after that, Chair, I posted a lot about, I researched a lot about them. And I posted a lot about them, including their relationship with President Zuma. I wrote on my Facebook wall that they derived the authority to land a plane that does not clear customs at a national key point because of their proximity to the president. Then I began to check out who are they, where do they come from. In that research, one of the things that I, for instance, discovered was that they were very impoverished in India before they came here, and that their father at one stage sold, had a primitive mill where they grind maize meal and sell it. And I learned that they were a big family. So I did a whole lot of, and then I began to observe also their proximity with those in power. And I would also go online because I had time on my, later on I had time on my hand when I was in hospital for a long time and recovering from home for a long time. Then I mapped, because I had been working with SOEs, I saw how the high attrition rate of board members, for instance, of the SAA. And I saw movements of people like Iqbal Sharma to Transnet.
Okay, no, that's one. I just wanted to have some idea of what you may have, some of the things you may have picked up. You don't have to, in terms of your investigation or research, you don't have to deal with all of them. Ms. Selo, I see it's after 4, but I would rather let us finish, if at all possible, in terms of what you need to ask her, so that tomorrow it can be cross-examination, if at all possible. And I assume you would be fine with that if we continue, Ms.
Yes,
Mentor?
sir.
You would be fine. Yes.
Sorry, yes, Chair, I'm happy to continue. Now, Ms. Mentor, continue on the conversation you had with the Chair. You will recall that at page 2151 of the features you had testified to that the experts were to look for was a pillar, and you corrected that today, by 2 large windows in a room where you sat. Can you quickly comment on that? Were you able to locate such a pillar and such windows when we arrived at the Gupta house?
I already spoke about it.
Now, you spoke about a wall that you say you wanted tested as to its age from the entrance of the home. You recall that?
Yes, two walls.
2 walls. Now, let's talk about what I call the front wall, the wall you see when you immediately enter. You confirm we went behind that wall through side doors and there was a lounge behind the door, behind that wall.
That's what I said.
Yes. Now, in the lounge then, that's where we found windows. The windows we found are they consistent with the description of windows you gave or you say you had seen on the day in August 2010?
I said that the windows were not consistent with the windows I saw in 2010 were gigantic.
And in that lounge as well, we could not locate a pillar. The pillar you had seen in front
I
of
already
the
said
windows.
that the pillar was nowhere. I didn't see the pillar anywhere.
Okay. Now, you did make mention of a mural on the wall. Just for the record, you confirm, and which is contained in the report, that the murals we found on the property, you discounted as the murals you were referring to when you testified before the Chair. That's correct?
I said so already.
Okay. Now, when we entered the property, on the left was a staircase leading to a floor up and a floor below. You recall that?
Yes, and I said that I don't recall that staircase.
And you discounted that staircase as having been there in August 2010.
I said I don't recall having spotted it in 2010.
And you indicated that when you visited the Gupta residence after you had gone up this flight of stairs outside and entered the property, you didn't go up or down a set of stairs.
Yes, once I was in the house.
Okay. And subsequently, when the inspection was completed, your legal representatives requested that we visit a room below where we had entered the property, which would require us to go down the stairs. You recall that?
Yes.
And we did go down that stairs.
Yes.
Can you, I would like to confirm that you discounted that space as a place you had ever entered, you had ever been, correct?
Yes, I did say I've never been to there.
And in that room, we found a small pillar at a corner of a indoor swimming pool, and you made comments about that pillar.
Yes, may I just take you back through the chair to the other floor where I was seated?
Yes, ma'am.
Before we go to the pillar and stuff downstairs?
Okay.
What I forgot to mention is that on the day of the in-local inspection, we were led further down that passage beyond the bathrooms. And I had submitted to the team that I could not comment on the structures further than the bathrooms because I had not been beyond the bathrooms. Nonetheless, we went into a room that was a main bedroom, and it had windows. So I had asked the experts to check whether it was possible that those windows, any one of them or both of them, or the cupboards for that matter, could have been, or is there a door? Reason being that in my evidence, where I had seated on that couch, when AJ Gupta came to join me and to sit on the other couch, he came from the direction of the passage of the bathrooms that I was shown. And the president also, when he came in, he came from that passage. So it surprised me when on the day of the in loco inspection that we were shown another bedroom to the left of the passage, if the bathrooms are to the right, if the bathroom is on the right, just slightly adjacent to that there's a bedroom, but the passage leads into a main bedroom. So in my mind, I asked, where could they have come from? Both AJ and the president on that day, because having shown what we were shown on that floor during the inspection, there was no thoroughfare where they could have come from. Hence, I asked the expert teams to check whether they had been through the cupboards, if there is a door, or if one of the windows or both of the windows could have been a door. In fact, I asked that the windows must be opened so that I could test them. And then we were told that they are sealed. They never opened. They are sealed for security purposes. So that is the aspect that I forgot to add before we move from one floor to the lower floor.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Ms. Mento. It's clarified. Now, we were then at the lower floor that we had gone to after inspecting the area you speak of, and I was at the point of the pillar at the corner of an indoor swimming pool. You discounted that pillar as the pillar you were referring to in your testimony on the basis that the one you had seen was much wider and larger than the pillar we were seeing in that room. Is that correct?
In fact, there are more than one pillars on that floor. And I think there are 4. And I said that by the look of things, they do not compare to the size of the pillar that I had seen in 2010.
And just for the record, there was a mural on the left side of the swimming pool across the length of the wall, and you considered that mural and you discounted it as the mural that you were referring to.
I discounted it because I had never been to that floor in 2010 anyway.
Thank you. So you testified, you requested the experts to test the age of the boundary wall around number 5 Saxon World. Do you recall?
Yes, between 5 and 7.
Yes. And this was on the basis that when you had visited that property, there was no boundary wall.
Yes. Chair, may I go slightly back?
Yes.
Well, I can answer this question and go back,
Okay.
whatever.
Whatever works best for you, ma'am.
Okay. Chair, now that we're speaking about walls, when we entered property number 5,
Yeah.
I did point out to the team that the driveway and its length and how it curved slightly towards behind the house is in line with what I remember from 2010.
Yeah.
And I also said that the distance between the entrance of the house where the steps are, where the car drives, the driveway, and the wall was consistent. That in 2010 it was not. So that wall on the extreme in front of the stairs, I remembered and was consistent with what I saw in 2010, together with the space between and how the driveway went around towards behind the house.
Okay.
Okay. Just to clarify then, because I think it touched a bit on my next question, are you saying to the chairperson that you recognize the boundary wall as having been there on your visit in August 2010, the boundary wall around 5 Saxon World?
Not the boundary wall between 5 and 7.
I'm talking about, and 5 and 3?
Well, the wall in front of the driveway.
Yeah, the wall in front of the steps.
Yes.
Are you saying that that wall was there on the day in
I
August
say, I
2010?
remember that we took that narrow drive around the house. So that wall did not stand out for me as irregular or suddenly present when we did the in-loco inspection.
Okay, I sought clarification on that because one of the issues you had raised with the experts, as the report shows, you questioned whether or not there was a boundary wall between number 3 Saxon World and number 5 Saxon World when you arrived on the day. And I will request that probably for ease of reference, they just quickly bring up that picture. You had specifically queried that and you instructed them to test the age of that wall. Do you still want them to do that?
Chair, sorry, madam. It is the wall between number 7, the two big mansions, the two large houses. We can go to the video.
Well, maybe make sure you're on the same page.
No, not unless I don't know what number 3 is.
May I request that the picture be brought up for ease of reference?
Okay,
Then I think
all right.
it will
Okay.
clarify the issue. Okay, you recall when we entered the property at number 5, you indicated that the wall bordering 5 and 3 was not there at the time when you visited in August 2010. Do you recall that? And you requested actually the experts to test the age of that boundary wall.
Show me the gate of number 5 that we used when we entered.
I can't on these series of pictures because these are pictures provided as part of the expert report. So it's just an aerial view of the properties.
I think the video will clarify which wall did I say should the expert check for me.
Okay.
Well, without the video, are you able from your own recollection to say which wall you were talking about in case they may have misunderstood what wall you were talking about?
Yes, Chair. When we were doing inspection, there were 2 big houses, one with stairs in front, steps, one without.
Yeah.
And then as we moved between those 2 houses,
Yeah.
I asked whether the wall between them have always existed.
Yes.
I also asked about the garden.
Before you talk about the garden, so the wall that you say you asked the experts to check whether it had been there in 2010, how old it was. It's a wall between the house at number 5 and the house within the property number 5 or with another number?
Check. When we did the inspection, we saw one big house which we went around before we entered. Then we went into another big house.
Yeah.
Between the 2 big houses, there was a wall.
Yes.
And I asked about that wall. After that, we went out and walked in the street
Yes.
to another property.
Yeah.
And when the house that we walk on the street towards,
Yeah.
I have never queried the wall between that house and the other house.
Does that give you an idea whether you are talking about the same 2
No, Chair.
houses?
we are not talking about the same wall. That's an aspect I suggest, Chair, the expert deal with, because it is part of their findings in the report, and it is the boundary wall, in particular between number 5 and number 3. So to the
Okay.
extent necessary, and if the expert might require that,
Yeah.
maybe the video of that particular query, or at the time Ms. Mento made the query, may be shown, and she may
Yes.
be reminded, Chair.
Okay,
But
okay.
she seems to be of one view, I'm of another. There is no point in debating the issue
Yeah.
currently. The video is there and it speaks for itself, Chair.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, I think just make a note so that in due course, the issue can be looked at properly.
And it's an issue that the experts
experts.
would have to respond to.
Yeah.
Because it's an issue they deal with in their report.
Yes. But what she's clear about is that the wall she's talking about is between two houses. From what you know, in terms of the report of the experts, is the wall that they understood her to be talking about between two houses as well. Whether it's the same house, two houses, or different two houses. Is it between two houses?
Chair, if I may just state this before I respond, Chair, with your
Yes.
permission. It is not from what I glean from the report.
Yes.
It is what I experienced at the inspection in Locom.
Yes.
I was present when Ms. Mento queried this particular wall.
Yes.
The video is there.
Yes.
It is that particular query that
Yes.
the experts themselves, then they heard the query,
Yes.
deal with in the papers. And that
Oh.
wall is not a boundary wall between 5 and 7. It is between
Okay.
5 and 3.
Okay, no, that's fine. Ms. Minto?
But Chair, I was there myself too.
I think what we'll do, what must be done is just to show us that
Indeed,
part
Chair.
of the video while she is
Indeed.
around, so that she gets a chance to say whether which wall she was talking about.
Yes, Chair.
Okay,
I'm
all right.
sure it will not be difficult. We will
Yes.
find that
Okay.
snippet. Ms. Mento, then after we inspected number 5, we exited and then we went to number 7, property number 7. You confirm that?
Yes.
Okay, now, if you have regard to the issues that were to be investigated as set out at page 215, do you confirm that none of the features described in subparagraphs 8.1 to 8.4 of the brief to the experts could be found at number 7? Not the staircase, not the pillar by 2 large windows, not a mural on any of the walls, and the ladies' restroom decorated in the manner that you describe.
I did discount number 7 during the in-local inspection in totality,
Okay.
after we have went into the house.
Now,
Thank you.
for the record, the experts state in their report that you could not have visited number 7 because it did not exist at the time at all. It was a construction site. Do you have a comment on that, or you don't want to?
Ma'am, I'm saying,
Well, she
I
said she did
myself
not, yeah.
discounted number
Yes.
7. So
Okay.
Yeah.
me and the experts are agreeing on that.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. That would assist their experts, they know what to speak to. The conclusion drawn by the experts, Chair, is none of the features they were asked to identify in the brief they were able to locate at number 5, Saxonwell Drive,
Yes.
and all the features that they were able to Chair?
No, I'm saying to Ms. Minto, I'll give you a chance. She
Yes.
was raising her hand. Yes.
And the issues, and that all 4 issues, because we have discounted the 5th, none of the features could be identified at number 5 Saxonwell.
Yes.
There are other issues that arose during the course of inspection that did not necessarily flow from the testimony of Ms. Mento in August, and
Yes.
consequently were not part of the briefs provided to the experts.
Yes.
There were issues that she raised on the day, and the experts made a list of all those issues
Yes.
that she would like tested.
Yes.
But they do not provide an answer in respect thereto. Their response confines itself to the brief.
Yes, okay.
Now, Ms. Mento, in her affidavit, and she correctly points out that there are certain aspects.
Maybe before you proceed, just in case what Ms. Mento wanted to say
Will impact
might
that.
be, she might forget if we allow you to go too far.
Absolutely,
You wanted
Chair.
to say something, Ms.
No, I
Mento?
wanted to say that in terms of the narrow brief that were given to the experts, it might be right that they did not find the issues. But I have submitted that there are features that they should have been,
Yes,
that should have formed part of the brief.
yes.
That was not part of the brief.
Yeah,
and
to
that
which you had
I
testified
found-
last
yes.
year, yeah,
Yes, Chair.
yeah, okay.
And in this
I'm
regard.
sorry, did you say which you found when you went for the inspection in local?
Yes, Chair. The features like the position of the bathroom was where I said it was the passage, the kitchen, the passage of the kitchen. So,
Okay, no, what I'm saying is, you were saying that there were fissures
that I found.
that you testified about in this commission last year, which were not included in the brief to the experts, but which you found were still there during the inspection in loco. Is that what you were saying?
I beg your pardon, Chair. May you kindly repeat that for me?
Okay, all right. You made the point that the mandate or brief to the experts did not include certain features of the house. Okay, that's one. You agree with that?
Yes, Chair.
Okay. Did you then say those features or some of those features that were not included in that mandate were features that you testified about before this commission last year?
Yes, Chair.
That's, yeah. Then the next question is whether there are features of the house which were not included in the brief to the experts and about which you had testified before this commission last year, which you found are still there when you went on inspection.
Are there features that I did not testify about,
That you testified about.
or that I testified about?
Yeah, but which were not included in the brief, but which you observed are still there when you went on the inspection in local.
Not in the house per se, Chair.
Yes.
In my evidence, I spoke about the trees I admired
Yes.
when we were about to enter the property.
Yes.
And that avenue of trees were there. So it's not necessarily
Or not
in the
inside the house?
Yes.
Okay, no, that's fine, thank you.
Chair, I must point out that at paragraph 17.5, starting at page 554, Ms. Mento lists the features, if I may call that she had testified to and that were present in the house. And at page 555, 1751, the first is that there was indeed a small bathroom in a passage which leads off from the entrance hall room, which accords with the position that I recall and have repeatedly described. We can confirm that having entered the entrance hall, to the right, down the passage, there is a bathroom. Secondly, she says there was indeed a passage leading to a kitchen in the position which accords with the evidence that I have given. Ms. Mento testified that as she sat in this room, down the other passage, I'll call it, not the passage with the bathroom, down the other passage, this gentleman, the chef, came through, and I think with Mr. Atulo, Ajay doesn't know who translated for him, and we found a passage through which one goes to the kitchen in the direction that she had testified, that's there. She points out that the steps to the main entrance to the house were in the approximate position that I remember and were marble granite, although there were more steps than I recall from my visit in 2010. We can confirm, Chair, that from our inspection, the position of the steps leading to the house or to the main entrance is correct. We, however, take issue with the fact whether they are marble or granite. The experts express a view that they are granite. Ms. Mento says they are either marble or granite. And then she says, although there were more steps than I recall from my visit, and that's what we dealt with previously. We found
Yeah.
10, she testified to 5 to 6.
Yeah,
Just
okay.
a little.
Ms. Minto, you want to say something on that?
Chair, I just want to remind Ms. Sello that even in my testimony, I battled with granite and marble,
Yes.
granite, and I even told you that it's a battle I always
Yes.
ensue with my daughter.
Yes. So you
So-
just want to say you are not rigid
Yes.
about which one it was. You were, but your understanding, this is how you would describe it.
It's-
Okay.
Okay. And lastly, Chair, she points out that there were indeed murals in various parts of the house, although not one on the wall, which I recall. Yes, we can confirm that there were 2 recesses leading to the lounge, which had small murals, but she discounted those as the murals she was referring to in her testimony, and neither one was on the wall that she had remembered the murals she saw being on that wall. So the issues are there, and I can confirm the
Yeah.
certain aspects of it.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Mentor.
Chair, if I may entertain you about 2 or 3 more things that pertain to the
The
to the
Fishers.
visit. Yes, Chair. The lounge,
Yes.
as it stood when we did the in-loco inspection, had a wall. But then if they would have gone back, I would have hoped that they would have, because I pointed where the pillar ought to have been, and I pointed to the wall of the lounge. I had hoped that they would check whether now the pillar has been enclosed when the lounge was being reconstructed. That's the first thing. Secondly, to Chair, maybe I did not say this to the inspection, but this is from media reports that I have read, that we know that there have been, as late as about 3-4 years ago, in complaints about the neighbors that there is forever construction around Saxon World. And also, I want to belabor the issue of the original plan of the house, Chair. I don't understand in modern day where a house can exist where you I mean, my father built our house 30 years ago. We still have a plan. It doesn't make sense that we can be told that the original plan of the house does not exist.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms. The experts provide a way forward, Chair, and I wanted to find out from Ms. Mento. Having visited the property or properties in question, having considered the expert report, you are aware that, I'll place on record, and the report states as much, the inspection was a visual inspection. And the experts point out that a deeper level of investigation can take place and a forensic investigation can be undertaken to establish whether the features testified to by Ms. Mento ever existed at some or other point. Now, Ms. Mento, my question to you is, you are aware that the conservative estimate of that exercise is 810,000. My question is, are you of the view that the commission must proceed with that expenditure of 810,000 to conduct a forensic investigation? If you had a choice, if I may say, what would you say?
Well, I'm not sure if it's fair to ask that question.
It may very well be.
She has put her version. She has said that she thinks that there should be some further work done. The experts have said how much that would cost. What must she say?
She hasn't had a comment, an opportunity to comment on the cost, and I wondered if she would. If she doesn't have a comment,
Yeah, I'm not sure that she Ms. Mentor, I'm not sure that we need her opinion about whether, in the light of the cost, it should be
I'm
done or
happy
not.
to leave the question, Chair.
Ms. Mentor, I'm not sure that you...
I think she's being unfair to me, Chair. In that when she raised this issue, when we had a meeting, we both agreed that it is the call of the chair. It's a determination of the chair to make. I even said in that meeting, I'm currently reading this book, and it's blood on their hands, and it's about General Johan Boyce. And that in this book, I came across issues about the Goldstone Commission. When
Yes, but don't take us to other things.
Yeah.
She was asking whether you think, in the light of the costs, we should do what needs to be done, and I kind of protected you from that.
I'll stand under your protection, Chair.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
I accept that, Chair, and to the extent necessary, I'm happy to withdraw the question if it's unfair to the witness. Thank you, Chair. Chair, that would then be, in summary, the inspection in loco, what we found on the site, and as we have indicated, we've touched on as well.
I've noted your hand, yes. Mhm.
Okay. And we have touched on some key aspects of the expert report,
Yeah,
which we have submitted.
yes.
The Chair,
So are you done with her, save for the showing of a particular part of the video recording?
indeed, Chair, it will just
Yes.
be the boundary wall story,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
for clarification.
Yes.
And beyond that, it would be
The
the
cross-examination.
testimony of the expert
Yeah.
in
Okay.
respect of
Thank you.
this very report.
Ms. Mentor.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes.
Ms. Silos correctly says the report of the experts says it was just a visual, that,
Inspection, yeah.
yes, that what we were initially told would happen did not happen.
Yes.
And what I would like to add is that the report also says it is not definitive.
Yes.
So I think to just say that it was visual without saying that the report concludes that it's indefinitive.
Yes, probably she was leaving that for the experts when they give evidence.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
yeah.
Before I leave that point, if I may just, Chair, follow up, and based on what Ms. Mentor has just said, she says what they were promised did not happen. What were you promised exactly, and what did not happen?
We understood that there would be a structural engineer, paint specialist, blah, 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 and that I would go and do the pointing out, and that the team would go back. And what I mean did not happen is the part of the team going back to go and do the work. We didn't know that it was going to end up just being a visual
Yes,
visit.
okay.
For the record, I would like to clarify, the brief to them is to go to be part of the visual inspection, and to bring to bear their experience and their expertise, and to listen very carefully to understand what is at issue, and to form a view based on their experience and what they hear. Thereafter, the chair will take it further and decide whether further investigations are necessary. That, for the record, is what was supposed to happen. And I just want to make sure that I correct any perception you may have held that is contrary to that, because it would be entirely wrong. And to the extent that I led you to so believe, then I apologize.
I accept your explanation, Madam Chair, through you, Chair. It's just that I wondered why
Yeah,
I was
it had
allowed
not
to
happened.
waste time for 2.5 hours to say to the expert, please, when you come back, check this, check that,
Yes,
check that, when there was
yes.
not going to.
Yeah.
If I should have been corrected that there might not be a coming back, but I was
Yes.
allowed to
Yes.
labor under the impression that they were going to come back. In fact, if I knew they were not going to come back, I would have made definite statements about the features that were
Yes.
there and that were not there. But
Yes.
because I had an impression that they were going to go back, I instead said, check this and check
Yes,
that, check this and
yes.
check that.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
Chair, we could very briefly go through Mr. Ajay Gupta's affidavit. That is one affidavit and version that was not put to Ms. Mento at her last appearance in August. It is just a number of issues that Mr. Gupta raises, and just to give Ms. Mento an opportunity to deal with them or to comment thereon should she find fit.
You want to do that now? If you want to do that, you can do that.
It's dependent on you.
My recollection is that their version was a denial that there was such a meeting.
Chair, it is more than, they filed a substantive affidavit raising various different issues.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm in your hands, Chair.
Yeah, you
Thank you.
may proceed, yeah.
Sorry, Chair.
Yes.
Please bear with me. I know that I'm very problematic, but forgive me.
Yes.
I would like to know if the submission and evidence of people who refuse to subject themselves to the processes of this commission, if it is not an introduction of their issues through the back door, if I'm supposed to, I'm not a lawyer, it's just my lay person's head thinking.
No, this is what's going to happen. You see, if they were allowed, they were granted leave to cross-examine, then that would grant them certain rights. But if the commission is aware of something that they think is maybe important to bring to your attention and hear what you have to say, then it's the decision. It's not their decision, it's the decision of the legal team, and if I allow it. Because they might not be here, but there might be something that the commission is aware of, and not to raise it at all might not be fair in terms of the mandate of the commission itself. So, but it's the discretion initially of the legal team, subject to my overriding discretion. Yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. It would be very brief, just to give Ms. Mento an opportunity to comment if she so chooses.
Yeah.
Now, Ms. Mento, I would like to refer you to D3. D3 are the applications for cross-examination. And if I may just call it, the Gupta application starts at page 113.
Did you say 113?
Starts at D3 113, Chair. And the affidavit starts at 117 in support of that application.
I'm there.
You found it?
Yes, ma'am.
It starts at 117, and let's quickly start at page 119. And this concerns your testimony regarding the flight to China. In brief, Mr. Ajay Gupta concludes that if you arrived in China after the proceedings had started, then you were not on the same flight. But we now have objective evidence that demonstrates that you were on the same flight, so that has ceased to be an issue. Would you agree?
Yes, ma'am. What do you expect me to do?
No, I'm saying I'm just putting on record that he had taken issue that you cannot have been on the same flight because of the details you give. And I'm saying that there is objective, verifiable evidence to show that you were indeed on the same flight. Mr. Ajay Gupta denies that he or any of his member of his family was part of an advance team. This is from page 121. And that that is not the function they discharged. They attended as businessmen and could not have been spotting tags and being responsible for registration and administration. Do you persist in your allegation that that is the role they played?
I do.
Well, hang on. That might be unfair to the witness. As I recall, the witness did not say that they were part of an advanced team. She said she was told that they were part of an advanced team. Now, based on that, I take it that she wouldn't know whether what she was told is true or not.
Yes, Chair, and in fact, you are right, not
So,
that...
so it's not something that she can confirm or not confirm. All she can say is what she was told. Whether what she was told is true or not, she wouldn't know.
Then let me repose it. You maintain that the Gupta brother did tell you on that flight that his brother was part of the president's advance team.
I maintain that.
And now that you know who the brothers are you able to say whether it was Rajesh? Or you can't recall now?
I beg your pardon?
Was it Rajesh who so informed you now that you know who is who?
I have said so repeatedly that with time, I've come to know the person that Duduzane introduced to me in the flight as Rajesh, and that he had told me that his brother was in China as part of the advance team, or leading the advance team.
Okay. The next issue I think you might want to comment on starts at page 127, and this at paragraph 34 concerns your testimony that you testified that Mr. Ajay Gupta said that he had sent his younger brother, Mr. Atul Gupta, to the US to study.
Yes.
If you look at paragraph 34, Mr. Ajay Gupta states that no one in the family has ever been sent to the USA to study. Atul Gupta came to South Africa from India in 1993-94. Rajesh Gupta came to South Africa in 1997, and I came in the early 2000s. But before that, it was in and out of the country. Do you maintain, though, that...
Again, it's not the same thing. She was told. She doesn't know for sure whether
No.
that's true.
This is Ajay Gupta denying that he told her that, because...
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Miss Mento's testimony was Ajay Gupta communicated this to her.
Okay.
I insist that Ajay Gupta told me that.
He told you, as you suggest. The next paragraph, it deals with the question of the ruby ring. You recall you testified to the fact that Mr. Ajay Gupta wears a ruby ring, or wore a ruby ring on the index finger. Mr. Ajay Gupta denies that he owns such a ring, or that such a ring has relevance in the Hindu culture. He maintains that he wears 2 gold rings, each containing a white diamond, and the ring belonging to my father I wear on my middle finger. Do you remember for certain that the ring was a red ruby ring, or are you not sure?
I remember for certain, and gold and ruby, Chair, if I may speak further about the ring, before you step off it,
Yes.
Advocate, indicate to me, are you stepping off the ring or?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm waiting for you.
Much as he disputes in this, his affidavit, that he wears a ring to his index finger, we once pointed from the media, Mr. Ajay Gupta, to Advocate Mahlape, wearing a ring in the index finger. Then the debate from the advocate became, but in the newspaper you cannot see if it is ruby or it is not ruby. So to the extent that he says he never wears a ring in his index finger, there are media reports where he wears a ring in his index finger.
Pictures.
Pictures.
Okay.
May I clarify? What Mr. Gupta denies is that he wears a red ruby ring on his index finger, as part of the Hindu culture that enjoins him to wear such a ring. That's what he denies. He does not deny wearing a ring on the index finger. He actually says he wears two, except that the one has got a white diamond.
I would also say to you, madam, I stick by what I said Ajay Gupta told me. When I asked him, why do you wear a ring in your index finger? Because that is unusual. And he told me that when the patriarch in his culture passes, the eldest son takes the ring and wears it in the, I stand by what I said he told me.
Okay, that is noted, ma'am. The next issue, I think, is what appears at paragraph 130, and Mr. Gupta appears to take particular umbrage at this. Paragraph 38.7. And if I may just quickly read, he says, Ms. Mentor describes being offered various lunch options by the chef. We do not have a chef, but we would never, no, we do have a chef, but he would never have offered her, nor is it possible to have been offered a mutton curry in our home. We are of the Hindu religion and maintain a strictly vegetarian diet. It is anathema to suggest that meat of any form, let alone in the form of chopped up sheep, would be allowed to enter our home, let alone enter our kitchen and form part of the meal prepared and served in our home. You understand the issue that Mr. Gupta takes is for religious regions, they can't have mutton. My question is, are you absolutely certain that what you were offered and you subsequently partook in was mutton curry?
I'm absolutely certain. And if I may, I don't want to answer the question that I've not been asked, but I've tried to check, because you have given us this before. I've tried to check if at the Gupta wedding in Rustenburg, if meat had not been served, and whether it's chopped up meat, because there's no way you can serve meat without chopping it up. I stand by what I say he told me, and I stand by what I say I was offered. And at least, how would I have known also that they have a chef?
If I may just clarify, I think the issue, especially when you bring up the wedding, my understanding of his objection is the suggestion that they would have mutton in their home, because they cannot have that for religious reasons.
That's what I was served. I stand by that.
That's what you said. Okay, ma'am. Lastly, then, it's a question, an issue that he raises at paragraph 38.9 and 38.10 at page 131. And he suggests that Jet Airways started flying the route on 14th April 2010 and stopped on the 12th of June 2012. SAA stopped flying the route between South Africa and India in August 2015 during the time that Minister Lynn Brown was the Minister of Public Enterprises. You see that?
I see that.
Do you have any comment on what he is claiming here? To your knowledge, is this what happened?
Chair, I think, I don't know what is the purpose of this exercise, because I can answer to what I said in my statement, and subsequent to my statement, former Minister Barbara Hogan was here to testify about those airlines. So was Cheryl Carolus. So I don't know why I must say I agree with him when the airlines were stopped. I just testified that I was asked to terminate the routes of the airlines.
Yes, I was going to ask whether it's the dates that are important.
It's the dates that are important because according to Mr. Ajay Gupta, on 12th April 2010, Jet Airways was flying between Johannesburg and Mumbai, and I wanted to find out if the witness has since become aware of that, is aware of that, has a comment, and if she doesn't.
Well, if her evidence was during during her meeting with Mr. Ajay Gupta, she was told that if she accepted appointment as Minister of Public Enterprises, she would have to terminate the SAA route and allow Jet Airways to use the route, then what is put to her should be in that context. If the dates are meant to say she could not have been asked to do that because Jet Airways was already operating, then it becomes clear. If it's something else, it needs to be made clearer.
It is the latter chair, which is it was already flying, and that is the version of Mr. Gupta. All I am doing is putting to her a version that is inconsistent with what she has testified to. If she's got a comment, she may comment, but if she maintains her position, that then I will.
Yes.
Chair, this is really making me tired, and forgive me
It's
to
been
say
a long
that.
day.
In that, Chair, that, I said that he said they have a relationship with Jet Airways. Now, I think the question should rather be, the focus should rather be whether in September, October 2010, the period during which I say I was requested to terminate the route of SAA, whether SAA was flying at that time. And according to him in this paragraph, during that period, SAA was still flying that route. Whether they were competing with Jet Airways or not, it's none of my
You don't
business.
know.
I do not know.
Yeah.
I take that, I accept that, Chair.
Yes.
And thank you, Ms. Mento. I think those were the key issues that come out of Mr. Ajay Gupta's affidavit and his version, and I've put them to the witness.
Okay, all right. You are done for now, except for the video recording.
I could say that,
That we'll
Chair,
deal
I
with
have
tomorrow.
to deal with the issues regarding 3 people that Ms. Mento testified would support her version, and it really would be to put to her what has been submitted and what has become available. I can do that now, Chair, or tomorrow.
No, let's do that tomorrow. It's been a long day. She has been on the witness stand.
I'm happy to do so.
We'll adjourn now, and then we will resume tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
We adjourn.